Ashe, Ashe, everyone. This is Innocent Smith of She She Witchy Wellnez, High Priestess. Yes, somatic sexologist and goddess incarnate. So, for today's video, I wanted to continue with a little mini series that I started for you guys. And as we get started today, just wanted to bless everyone with clear intentions. Set our intentions for clarity, peace, prosperity, joy, right, and embodiment. So, all right, let's get into it. You guys know how I do. Just want to make sure that our space is clean and clear. I have my crystal ball. I have a mini crystal ball actually off to the side. And I know I'm always telling you guys this, but I just wanted to introduce her for a second. So this beauty is off to the side with us. And I've got her on a globe of water just to help amplify the energy. So we are good and protected up in this space. And yeah, let me make sure I've got my witch finger. So it's very important to make sure she's here as well. I use this one really more or less as a pointing tool whenever we are having our sessions. So make sure that she's all clear and clear. Give me a second here. And you see me doing this not for show. I think that's super important to say. But I'm gonna leave this off to the side because it is very important to learn how to get into the habit, right? Even if you are simply kind of examining your tools, right? So I think that it's imperative that every time, not sometimes, but every time that you get ready to work with any sort of divination tools, right? Or anytime you're preparing to do any sort of energy work, that you set an intention, that you clear your space, right? And one way of doing that is, as I've told you guys before, through a few things such as sound therapy, sound frequencies. You can use smudging as a form of clearing. So like, you know, smudging with smoke, smudging with water, with herbs. Like there's so many different ways. We'll do a whole video on that later, but that's been done. So I'm not going to make that a video now. I'm going to put the finger off to the side for now. But I just wanted to make sure to remind you guys that that's important. So I kind of wanted to just quickly recap on some of the decks that I shared with you before. So this is a deck tour part 2 of the current Egyptian, aka Kemetic, African tarot and oracle card decks that are in the She She Witchy Wellness vault. So what's currently in the collection? What I went over with you guys in our last video, and I'm not going to pull these cards out, I'm just going to show you the boxes to kind of just like recap. So we went over the Cleopatra Tarot box, and this is a deck of 78 cards, as it is a full tarot deck and not major arcana only. So we went over this one. We also went over the Tarot Nefertari deck. And I let you guys know, as these are both low Scarabeo decks and, you know, tuck box, which is why I'm not a fan. But although I love the artwork, the box is atrocious. Just whatever. And this is only after a few uses. So as you guys can see, I do use this deck. I love this deck. That's a stunning deck. It's also 78 cards. as it is a full tarot deck. And I'll just show you a card to remind you. This is a gilded deck, so it's why it looks like that on the box, but the cards themselves are gilded also. It's one of my favorites. We went over the Egyptian Gods Oracle. Now, this is in a much better box because it's a hard-sided box that lifts off. And then the cards look like this, right? There are 36 cards in this deck, as it is an oracle deck and not a tarot deck. There's 36 cards. Beautiful cards, so I love the meaning on those. Now, this one is a little different. This is a Lo Scarabeo deck as well. It is the Egyptian Tarot, but it is major arcana only, so know that. And then the cards look like this. Right? So again, not going to take that one out. Bear with me. I'll give you all of those first. And so this one is actually called Le Tarot de Kemet. And that's because, yeah. Okay, so bear with me. Technical situation back here. I've got the lighting for the camera, right? The additional lighting, because you guys know we need that position back here. And it just decided wanted to shift. No problem. No problem. We're going to keep on rolling. So anyway, as I start to say, this one is a French edition, and it's not a complete deck. As a matter of fact, I want to tell you guys that there should be 22 cards in this deck because it is based on the major arcana only, right? But it still has value. It's really a beautiful deck. And there's the back of the box. I got these cards. I'm just going to show you one to remind you why. And then they come in this nice sateen bag and with a guidebook, decent guidebook. But these cards are based on the Thoth system, right? I know that doesn't probably say Thoth to you, but again, I'm not going to go over this whole deck. I have a whole new lineup to show you guys, so I don't really want to get into that. Yeah, it's not exactly clear in that. One of my favorites, so. Magician, or La Bête de l'Or, not La, Les Bêtes de l'Or. These cards are just, I love them. I love them. I love them. I love them. As I said, it's really hard to show you though. So I'm just gonna show you still, and you'll get the thing. If it was a full, yeah, Le Maison du, and this is a tower, or tower moment. So if it was a full Thoth-inspired Kemetic, aka African version of the tarot, then you would really see that more. I wish they would do that. I don't know. Maybe someday in the future they will, but in the meantime, that's what's in here. But it's still a great deck, and it has many, many uses. Since I showed you that, I'm going to go ahead and show you these other two and say, now these are Kemetic inspired decks. They're not Kemetic, meaning, you know, they're not Kemetic. But they definitely take their inspiration from that system and, you know, from other African systems, right? Spirituality. And that is the Thoth deck. So, like, what I mean by that is, like, show you just a few cards from here to remind you, right? That sort of thing. Where's it open? That is the Chariot. No, I apologize. The Prince of Wands, but on a Chariot. Just trying to show you a few so you get what I mean. Here's the actual Chariot. Do you see what I mean? And although I know it's much more than just that, I think that the Thoth system is a beautiful system in and of itself, in that it, you know, attempts to show you many hidden truths across various systems, but it definitely takes its inspiration out of Africa. That was lust. We'll talk about that later. So anyway, we're not taking a deep dive into any specific decks right now, as this is simply a deck tour. And the reason why I felt like these videos, this series of videos, was important. Showed you guys I have two different sizes of that, of the Thoth. Why I feel like that's important is because in sharing, right, we get an opportunity to see like some tools that we may not have in our own collection, but that we're interested in. You also get a chance to see what's here in the She She Witchy Wellness Vault, as far as the types of tools and cards that you may prefer to work with, right? Should you get a personal reading, and to know what sort of tools that I'm using, that I work with in order to provide the community readings, right? Those tools that I use for all of the offerings that we do here at She She Witchy Wellness. So I think it's really important to give you that opportunity to, you know, be able to see the cards, let's just say, you know, in living color, so to speak, right? So you have an idea up front of what you're going to be working with. But like I said, you also have an idea of what's possible, because there's so many things that we do here. And so, there's another deck that I should have shown you guys from the last video. So if you saw that video in its entirety, you would have seen this one as well. And that is one of my favorites, the Egyptian Star Oracle by Travis McHenry. This is the box. Now this box is a little different because see how long it is, but it fits great on the shelf. It has a pull tab here, and here's the bag. I have not worked with this one much, I'll be honest with you guys, but still, from what I have, I love this deck, and yeah, gonna be working with it more. But anyway, just show you just a quick recap of some of the cards. So that is Respect and Admiration. Now remember, these are oracle cards, not tarot, right? I love everything about these cards. I don't care that they're not gilded. Gilded is not a deal breaker for me. It's not. It's just one of those things that it's nice to have, but it's not necessary. Right? And that's security. Yeah. Right? So, like, these cards are simply stunning to me. Like abundance. Body. Abundance. Purification. Right? Okay. So, if I showed you these cards, I would have told you that they are gilded. Although I said, you know, that doesn't really matter, but that's not the reason why I love these cards. Sorry, it looks like itch. It's not because they're gilded. It's because the cardstock is wonderful. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not luxurious, but it's looks enough. It's enough. They shuffle really well. The detail in the cards, though, is what I want you to see. Hold on. Is that the level of detail in these cards, right? Even in the corners. And, you know, that you're given the numbers and all the information. And do you see that? Like, right down to the relief of the, you know, hieroglyphs that are on the walls. And that's of every single card. You see that as a background is the hieroglyphs. Look. Right? Like, that is simply stunning. And each card has a different relief. We'll go over these as a set. Do you know what I mean? Like, as a system later. But I just wanted you to have an overview of what they're like. And I have to tell you, like, I'm absolutely not disappointed with these cards whatsoever. I think they're stunning. They also came with, like, this little trinket that I have left in the box because, at least for now, I just kind of wanted to preserve that, right? And it's the eye, the golden eye. So, gonna have a lot of fun playing with these cards. I know to some people, they feel offended at the thought of playing with cards, but when I say that, I absolutely think that that's a whole energy in and of itself, right? Is to see these cards in a way that they can be, you know, played with, because at least from what I've found, like, that's a very loving and welcoming energy that the cards do appreciate. And, you know, not that I don't take them seriously, I do, right? I revere these cards, but I don't take it so seriously that I don't forget to bring in this element of playfulness, right? When I am working with them. I think that is extremely important. You know, to have some lightheartedness, to know that they are tools, to know that they are teachers, to know that, you know, they are allies and that we can work with them in whatever way that we choose. And to know that that's how I approach spirituality. I think that that's super important. So anyway, that's a bit about me. All right, so let's dive into part 2, shall we? All right, so now that we're like 17 minutes in. Okay, so here's the box for the Egyptian Oracle. And it's not the best box, but it's a great box. It's a good box for what it is. This system was set up by Maya Heath. Now, inside of this, you have this pull out, right? Like this box. That looks like that. And, you know, nice enough. Nice enough. I'll say it like this. So inside of that, you have this. I know you're like, what the heck is that? You'll see. Because I've taken everything out of here. I could not let it live in here. It's just, it was too hectic. Do you know what I mean? Like, every time I wanted to use it, to pull it out. And also because, like, my storage system, there's just nowhere for this to live like that. So my boxes get stored separately. Here's the back of the box. And this gives you some clue as to what we're dealing with. So with this, we got a guidebook. We have a board system, the cards, and something else. So you'll see that momentarily. I'm going to show you. So what I did was I took those cards out, that whole system out, and I put it into this bag, this linen bag that I really love because it's kind of fabulous for that. And I just adorned it with another eye, right? I'll see now. And so inside of here, I have everything that comes in the system. I've got the guidebook, as you shall see, which is actually a hard-sided book. It's really nice. So here's the book. And in the book, The whole pantheon, as you see. We also have, it's not really a lot of pictures. It's not illustrated or heavily illustrated, but when you have some, it looks kind of like that. Like I said, it's not necessarily an illustrated book, right? But it's broken up in sections, like that. And then in the back, and this is important to note, we have an illustration of the board, right? And you'll see why that's important later. So I'm gonna set that to the side. And then we have, I'll show you that next, the actual board itself, which is really nice. And it's a fold out. So it's a two-sided board. This is one side. Here's the opposite side, and the opposite side goes horizontally, not vertically. And do you see what I mean? They are numbered, and it has the entire pantheon on there, which is very nice. This board is laminated, which is great. It folds easily, right? It packs up, at least in what I put it into, fairly easily. So I love that. And bag is like a pouch. And then even within here, right? I had a few other cards in there. Even inside of this, I put another pouch. And this is velvet, because why not? Love it. So open this up. And inside of here, I have the actual tiles, because this is like a tile system, right? I'll show you a few. I want to drop them. So like, here's a tile. Right. But actually I had it in upside down, so it was like that. Here's a tile. And I mean, you know, as far as tiles go, like, they're all different. And so what you're noticing, right, is that the tiles are like little chips of this stele. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So each tile, when you put it together, has a certain representation and has a certain meaning. And so you match it up, and it's dependent on some things. Like, we'll talk about how the actual system itself goes in a whole separate video, because I don't want to try to get into that for now. I just want to give you an overview of what it looks like. But the tiles match up to the deities that are, you know, on the board. And the book does a great job. Like, it really does a great job of breaking this down and explaining to you, you know, how you read with the tiles, because you cast them and what they mean and all that. So, like, you still ask your questions. Do you know what I mean? And then you'll get a response. And here's a good illustration of one of the pages. So, that's a pretty good illustration of one side of the board. But as I said, like, it's a whole system. So, yeah, like, each tile is kind of like a mini glyph, if that makes sense to you. And I've used it multiple times. I really, really enjoy it. It's a great system. I have another system that's similar to it, not the same, but still pretty great. And I'm going to show you that one next, actually. So it's in card form, though. So this one is called the Egyptian Lenormand. And it is by Nefer Kefri. She is a Reiki master and teacher. So when I saw that, I had to get it because, you know, we at least have that in common. And Lenormand is another card system that I really enjoy. Now this one, this is mass 41 cards, by the way. The box is nice. There's a back. It's a hard-sided box. And this is a glimpse of what the cards look like. Right? So very nice. Okay, so when we open this up, we get this. So a picture of her. And I'm just going to pull it out because it's kind of awkward trying to one-hand this. So she gives us a really nice guidebook. Guidebook looks like this. And it's fairly meaty, right? There are colored illustrations in here of the cards. I'll show you an example. All right. And an overview of the meaning. So that's super nice. And you get a really decent amount of information within the guidebook, right? Like it's great. She goes into, because she's a Reiki healer as well, so she goes into like magical ethics. She goes into details about like distance healing and really gets into like the health associations of these cards. It's beautiful, you guys. Like, get a chance. It's really great. Again, it's another one that we will go over in detail, but not in today's video. That's why I'm calling these, like this mini series, more of a deck tour, because that's literally all we're doing is just kind of, you know, checking out the deck, preview, if you will. And I'm not giving a review of these cards because to me, like, to give an actual review, full-on review, would take a lot more in-depth and detail. And I just don't want to get into that with this because there's so many cards. So here we go. All right, here's the Desert Fox. Some might look at that and say jackal, but Desert Fox. Here's dog. I'm just going to randomly show you a few. Here is activation. You can call it third eye activation if you want. I'm just saying activation. Here is, and we got to consider sources, right? So let's just stick with that. But here's the goddess. Here's the garden. Oh, I think this is a beautiful card. Here's the child. Right. Here is scroll. Here's heart. What else we got? Here's clover. Right. And trying to randomly, oh, here's anchor. Love that one. Don't have a favorite. It's just, there's some really, there's a lot of energy in here though, you guys, right? Like a lot of energy within these cards. Oh, here's ship. I know. Okay. Because when you see this, like these cards within person, right? Like there's so much color and depth and like they're just very vibrant. They're beautiful. They're absolutely beautiful. Here's obelisk. I'll show you one more. Let's see what we get. But yeah, I love these cards. And we'll talk about Lenormand as a system also. Here is the Dejed pillar. Right, which is like a battery. So we will talk about that in a later video. But oh yeah, okay. So as far as like shuffling goes, these cards shuffle really easily. They are definitely more of a plastique sort of card, so you can riffle them, bridge them, and all of that quite easily. They're pretty great. You can overhand them, well, maybe not bridge so great, but you can overhand them pretty well. Like, they're really durable cards, and they don't, to me, have much of a glare, not per se. This is the back of the cards, by the way. They don't really have a glare, but they do have this gloss that is just beautiful to behold. Oh, here's one of my other favorites. I'm sorry, since it showed up. Here is Stars. And yes, that is the goddess Newt here. Yeah, so the stars over the lamp. So nice. Anyway, but yeah, Lenormand has its place. I, as you guys know, love layering my cards in readings. And I think that layering is such a beautiful practice because it helps to give you so much depth that you would not get otherwise, right? When you layer systems. So we'll talk about that later, but I love that. All right, so on to the next. This is the Egyptian Tarot. I know, probably had another one, but this is the Egyptian Tarot. And so it's a hard-sided box. Here's the side, back. The cards look like this. Yeah. And yeah, oh, the guidebook within it looks like this. It's a pretty meaty one. The card illustrations in here are not in color. And you're not getting a full page, but it's totally okay because you absolutely get what you need. We've got a little bit of history within this guidebook, and we definitely got some card spreads back in here. We got a note section. I really do enjoy these card spreads that are back here. Yeah, and I think they do a great job at explaining it. I mean, they give you more than just a handful of card spreads, so that's really great. They talk about the art of cartomancy, which is nice. So, you know, if you're not very familiar with it, you get that. So the cards themselves, I just pulled them out really quick because I'm going to follow when I hold it. So here's the inside of the box. The cards live in here, and there's like this satiny pull tab that goes there to hold your cards in. I just didn't want them to fall out. So here's the back of the cards. And I really enjoy the artwork and the style. I have yet to stylize these cards, meaning I'm gonna go through and, you know, edge them, but I have not yet. And this deck I really enjoy because it is another Thoth-inspired deck. So you'll see what I mean. All right, so here is the Six of Wands or staffs. Do you see what I mean? Randomly gonna show it to you. Here is the Four. And the colors on it, like, so vibrant. So it's really pretty easy to read when you're going through this, right? Here's the Ten of Knives. They're beautiful, you guys. Like, absolutely beautiful. Here is the 7 of Discs. Do you see what I mean by, like, thought inspired? Yeah. Here is the Queen of Staffs, the Mother of Staffs. I believe they call it Queen in this system. But beautiful. Here is the Empress. The Papist, actually. Here is, no, I apologize. That was the High Priestess, or the Papist, High Priestess. So sorry. Here's the Empress. Right? The Mother Goddess. There's a difference in that, and I know that. So, again, this is the High Priestess, or the Papist. Right? And these cards are just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I'll show you a few more. Yep. Here is the Emperor. That stance, right? Like, just, oh my God. Here's the World card. Like, they're just so beautiful. Show you a few more. Here is our Fool card. I really love the crocodile, the Nile crocodile, right? As opposed to like a dog or whatever there. Here is the Knight of Discs. I mean, that horse. Like, does it just not remind you of like the horses on the carousel? Do you know what I mean? Here's the Moon card. Right. Do you see what I mean? So, stunning deck. Cardstock wise, let's do that. Cardstock. It's a really nice cardstock, to be honest with you. Like, in it being a low Scarabeo deck, I'm not disappointed with the cardstock whatsoever. It's, you know, really easy to shuffle, and it's not a flimsy cardstock. It's not super thick, right? Like, it works well. It's great for overhand shuffling. Do you know what I mean? So, like, that's pretty great. I really enjoy this. And like I said, I'm going to modify this deck, actually. So I'm going to put that one off to the side to remind me to do that after this video is done today. Okay. And then we have just a few more. So we have the Anubis Oracle. And it's a pretty large box, just so you know. This one includes 35 cards and a guidebook, the set. It is by Nikki Scully and Linda Starr Wolf, illustrated by Chris Walder. I do hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Here's the back of the box. Right, sorry. And this is a hard-sided system. It's really nice. So it opens up like this, another side, and the inside looks exactly like the outside. I'm just gonna sit this down because, again, you know, a little awkward trying to one-hand it and operate camera. Okay, so here is the guidebook. That's what that is. As you can preview, the card illustrations are not in color, but it's nice. And this guidebook has some spreads in here for you as well, like some card layouts. You know what I mean? That are illustrated instead of just being numbers. You get some sample readings. In and of itself, this book is about 165 pages, including the credits about the author and all of that. I really enjoy the layout, so. As you see, they're very nice. There's another. And oh, this one is a beautiful one. This is the Tree of Life layout. And what I want to start doing is just, sharing this within community, is I'm going to start sharing some of these layouts with you guys. But yeah, so let's get into the cards, because start of the show, right? All right, so these cards are not gilded. It's another thing that I'm going to modify this deck as well. But here's the back of the cards. I said not gilded. The cards themselves, they're not like density wise, like it's a fair to medium, I'd say, density almost. They're not thick by any means, but they're not flimsy either. You're fairly flexible, as you see, right? They overhand shuffle great. I don't try to bridge these whatsoever. There was a card that just wanted to come out, so let's, and I will get it when I'm done. Hold on, if I can. How flexible am I still? Haha. Yeah, we're just gonna leave that where it's at for now, because all right, so I'm gonna show you a few of the cards. So here's Cosmic Influences. Of course, you know, though, I'm curious as to what the card was now, right? Aha, I got it. I got it. It was Sothis, or Star Consciousness. It was the card that fell. Show you a few. Here is Kepra. Thank you. Focus. Here is Kansu. Here is Anubis. Way opener. Here is my aunt. Right? So, like I said, there's a few. I'll show you one more. Here is Wajid. Yep. Serpent. Goddess. And, oh, here's Alchemy. See what I mean? So, great card system. The colors and the illustrations in here are beautiful, beautiful to me. I'll show you one more. Here is Sacred Purpose. And on this card, we see illustrated Ptah, Nut, Geb, and Anubis. Ptah, Nut, Geb, and Anubis. So yeah, I really enjoy working with these cards. They are beautiful. And like I said, like they layer fantastically, not will, they layer fantastically with other, you know, cards. And you can also mix them across card systems, right? Like it doesn't just have to be an Egyptian card system. But I like, you know, often keeping within systems and kind of exploring outside. So it's a whole other conversation. All right, so here is the Book of Doors divination deck. Yeah. And this one is by Anthon Veji and Allison Davidson. It's an older system. Here's the back. Here's the side. And so I'm not gonna lie to you guys, like I was pretty I was pretty relentless about acquiring this deck when I saw it because I just had to have it. I don't know. Something about it like really spoke to me. The book for this deck is, yeah, it's meaty, it's intense. So it's like that. It actually has about 246 pages all told. The illustrations of the cards, again, are not in color. Not a deal breaker. It's a beautiful system. And I love that they refer to the deities in their Kemetic names, right? Like, not... Anyway, you'll see. You'll see, you'll see. Yeah. And so it gives you a breakdown of the deities, and it gives it to you in their Kemetic names. It also gives you an overview just of, you know, how to work with this system and the method of divining. It gives you the Theatrics and the magic square. Tells you a lot about like the hidden vowels. It gives you the Egyptian alphabet, which is great, right, for helping you to be able, sorry, tell you instead of showing you, for helping you to be able to interpret the hieroglyphs, right? So that's pretty great, and to be able to make the pronunciations. So love this book. It's great. When you open it up, the cards are in here, and there's no ribbon tap that I remember, but we have a die here, right here, and then here are cards. So you want to be careful about that, not to dislodge your die and lose it, because you only get one. And it is a numbered die, but it has like more of a pyramidic sort of style. Now you could always replace that should you choose with something similar, but that's the one that you get that comes with the system. And so the cards themselves, the back of the cards look like this. I personally love that because I feel like it's like interdimensional, right? It's another deck that I have to personalize, but I've not yet. So just, there's so many decks in my collection, you guys. So I'm getting to it. All right, so the cardstock for these cards is one that I actually prefer. Like, they're not flimsy. They've got a good, you know, balance to them, good medium density. They're not super stiff. You can easily, you know, shuffle these cards. You can bridge shuffle should you choose. I don't bridge with all of my cards. Some I do, some I don't. Most I don't, actually. So, and let's just see what we think of the cards. All right, so here is Tepi Aum, Hirhu, Hehu, sorry. Yeah. Randomly. Here is Tepi Ayun Kiku. I'm just going to show you the cards. How about that? Mayat. Mm. Uh, Now, I will be honest with you and tell you again that Newt is one of my favorite deity cards, no matter where, what deck she shows up in. I love to see the different manifestations of Newt as a card. Here's one. Do you see what I mean? Like, these cards have such a vibrancy to me that is not overdone. Right? Such a vibrancy and so much life for, something that's like very one-dimensional for a card. I think they're stunning. Absolutely stunning. So, love these cards. So glad that I got them. And like I said, we'll talk about, using them later. It's definitely an oracle system. And I do use it with a die. You could possibly use it without it, but I use it with a die as it was intended. We'll talk about it as a divination system in a separate video. I know, so many videos. But that's what we're doing because there's just not, this is not the right container to try to get into that now. All right, and so last but not least in today's showing, right, of my collection is the newest, and it is this beauty. This Black Beauty. So this box is pretty huge. Now I have some big boxes in the collection, right? And I'll even show you, but still this is by far the largest one I've got yet. So comparison. Here is the Book of Doors divination deck. Do you see what I mean? Like, it's huge. It is huge. And so that's how it shows up. It actually came because I got this one from Amazon, I'm not gonna lie. So it came in a larger Amazon box, and then this box is the outer box. And don't know why it says ready to ship here, other than I'm assuming they don't want them taking it out of this box. So, but when you open that up here, we got this. Right. And this is the Kemetic Tarot, by the way. It's the Veil of Osset edition. I had to get it out of here, you guys. I told y'all. It's a whole lot. Okay. So, now we have this box. And this is our display box. So we open this up. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys because it's like matte black. It's easily scuffed and, shows things. But anyway, so it opens like this. It's a flip top magnetic box. When we open it up inside, we've got our bag. Beautiful bag, by the way. Put that to the side. We have a taillette inside of here, and I'll show you what I mean. So there's a taillette here that is made out of red jasper. Beautiful taillette, by the way. And I'll pull it out, show you what it looks like. So, like I said, this is a gemstone, right? It's red jasper. Took that. And I don't wear this. I know that you can, but for now, I'm just not wearing it. I choose to put it on my altar whenever I'm doing altar work. I don't wear it. The guidebook is pretty substantial, you guys. But here's the thing with this. We don't just get one guidebook. I'll show you the cards in a minute. We don't just get one guidebook with this, which is this, which is beautiful, right? In color. In color. This guidebook though is about 200 and or so more than that. And really, with the light though. Hold on just a second, you guys. Turn on flashlight.
Okay, I've turned torch on.
Stuff. Anyway, so as I started telling you, this guidebook is like 226 pages long. And it gives you the Egyptian name or word for the card.
Okay, it's now off.
She's playing games. Turn on flashlight.
It's on now.
Somebody in, you know, whatever that energy, we're gonna leave that alone. All right, so like I said, but you get in the back, you get a pretty nice guide back there as well for the card hieroglyphs is how they call it. But like I was telling you, when it comes down to the cards themselves, right, you get that sort of deal with the descriptions, and it's beautiful. Like the cards are beautiful. Oh my gosh. So anyway, let's just get into that. Now the spreads and whatnot are not really contained within that book. So then you get a second one. This is called Tales of the Goddess. So the Veil of Aset, which kind of explains this system. Well, no, does not explain the system, but it gives you like the backstory, right? So within this, you get an introduction to the system. You get the Knot of Aset information, the birth of Aset, Amon-Ra's secret name, the betrayal of Aset, the search for Asar. Asar, by the way, Asar and Aset. The divine concepts of Haru, the scorpions of Aset, so on and so forth. And it goes all the way down to the resurrection of Asar. So you get all of that within this book. And I think it's quite beautiful because it sets the scene to let you know, if you don't really know much about, you know, the story, right? It prepares you for that. So let's get back into the box because we still have our cards in here. So within here, then we have this, like framed, is our box of cards, our deck of cards. All right. So then this box is beautiful. It's back. I adore these cards. It's very reminiscent of like a little Scarabeo box though, you know what I mean? So be careful in opening the box because you could quite possibly easily rip it, and that's not my intention. So I'm gonna use my witch finger here to help me out. Pop that open, right? And we get this open. And we've got our cards, our stunning cards. And then our cards look like this. You ready? All right. Here's the back of our cards. It's linen, but it's a gloss Yeah, they're gilded, heavily gilded. And here is the front of our cards. So here is a knee, or the Fool. Now notice that crocodile here again in the bottom corner, right? But then we also have the serpent here. Oh, gee. And I'm just gonna show you a few. Tell you about the cardstock later. Tahuti. There you go. Lighting, you guys. So doing the best. Here's Bastet. We got. Here's the King of Ox. Here is the Warrior of Swords. Yeah, and notice that in the system they're called warriors, and not knights. Or you'll see. Here's the Scribe of Ox. Here's the Eight of Swords. The Five of Scepters. Three of Scepters. Two of Ox. The Queen of Scarabs. Mayat. Because I want you guys to see some of the few more of the major arcana. Not that the minor arcana is not important. It is the Pyramid, which would be the Tower, or the Tower moment. The Wheel of Fortune, which is shown as Shy in Renutet. Lovely, lovely, lovely cards. Amun-Ra. Six of Scarabs. See what I mean? Like, the Three of Swords. So yeah, it's the heart, but on a Coptic jar, right? I mean, let's see. Okay, since this is the last, we'll just see. Well, let's just ask, shall we? So, since this is our last card deck, if the ancestors have any messages for the collective at this time from this deck, is there a message? What message do you have? Say it that way. What message do you have for the collective at this time? And we're going to do a one card pull, okay? What key takeaway do you have for the collective at this time, divine ancestors? And then give you guys a moment to kind of, be within yourselves and settle and to see what comes up for you. What sort of energy are you in? What mode are you in? Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and allow everything to just kind of settle and see where you are. So we're going to see. So the question is, what are we doing? Turn on flashlight.
Okay, I've turned torch on.
Somebody's feeling very playful, I see. Now, you guys see how many times the light has gone off and come on, right? Okay. And so, for this card to keep trying to show up, I'm just going to say, all right, that we are receiving the message of the Lovers. And I apologize if you hear any noise in the background. As you guys know, I'm not alone, so there may be some background noise, so my apologies. Not everyone is respectful of your privacy. A Set and a Sar, the Lovers. So the message that we are getting from this, and I want to, as this is a new system, not that I don't know the cards, but I want to give it to you straight from, I'm being directed to refer to the book right now and see how the creator intended for that message to be read. All right, so let's do it that way. But I want you to see, before I even read that off to you, what do you feel when you look at this card? What sort of energy do you get? As a matter of fact, I'm going to tell you what I feel, and then I'm gonna be obedient, and I'm going to tell you what the guidebook says. It's according to Spirit. So I feel that this is a message right now of divine protection, of divine love, of this unbreakable bond that you have with Spirit, that the ancestors have for you, this great love. And that right now that they see you and that they recognize that, you may be feeling a little vulnerable, but they want you to know that no matter what you're feeling, right, to know and to recognize that they've got you, that you are divinely protected and covered, right, as you rest and recuperate right now, that you can rest in their loving embrace and know that, divine timing is at work, and that all good things come to those who wait. But you also have to be humble enough and willing to surrender and allow Spirit to, I want to say prop you up, but like to fill in those gaps and to fill in those spaces where you may be lacking. There is. So let's just go to the guidebook, shall we? Okay, so it says, glorious Osset, perfect in command and speech, avenged her brother. She sought him without ceasing. She wandered round and round the earth, uttering cries of pain, and she rested not until she found him. And that goes into the story, but we'll talk about that later. So the tale of Osar and Osset, known to the Greeks as Osiris and Isis, not known to the Greeks, known by the Greeks, propagated by the Greeks as Osiris and Isis, because that's the name they changed them to. So when you hear Osiris and Isis, those are the Greek pronunciations for Osar and Osset. They changed the names. This is one of the greatest tragic love stories ever written. Osset was murdered by his chaotic brother Set, also known as Seth, who dismembered his deceased body and locked it up in a box, which he then threw into the Nile. Asar's devoted and long-suffering sister-wife, I said sister-wife, we'll talk about that, searched the world, grieving for her lost husband, and gathered together the pieces of his body. Upon recovering and reassembling the body of her lost lover, she used magic to impregnate herself with Asar's son, Haru, a supernatural conception. It's also something we'll talk about later, but pick that up right there. The supernatural conception, the immaculate conception. Sound familiar? Aset became a funerary deity, providing the means for Aset became a funerary deity, providing the means for Asar to achieve eternal life through ceremonial mummification. In Egyptian hieroglyphs, it's early, you guys, oh my gosh. In Egyptian hieroglyphs, she is often depicted with outstretched rings protecting Asar on his throne, such as this. Her magic protects him. Her love protects him. Aset, the funerary deity, provides protection to the traveler on their journey through the afterlife. And Asar sits as the ultimate threshold guardian on the hero's quest as he sits in final judgment of the soul before eternal life can be obtained. The Aset and Asar card, the Lover's card, card number 6, is equivalent to the Lover's card in other decks. On this card, we find Aset with outstretched wings, protecting the reposed body of Asar under the full moon. Asar holds the royal crook and flail, dual scepters of royal authority and prosperity. He wears the hijat, the white crown, symbolizing rule over Upper Egypt, the New World. His crown is adorned with his white crown is adorned with golden ostrich feathers, and he wears the golden potache, the fake beard, right? A metallic false beard symbolizing his sovereignty, strength, and potency. Aset's crown is adorned with the horns of the cow, signifying her status as a nurturing goddess of motherhood, and the Shijit, the symbol of her healing power. She bears the Shenu ring. I don't know if you can see here, but she bears a Shenu ring, a symbol of eternal protection, around her neck. It's here. She has begun the process of wrapping her lover's body in funerary linens in preparation for his mummification and resurrection. So what that has to do with what I was telling you, that this card is speaking to us about love, right? Divine love, perfect union, relationships, not necessarily romantic, but could be romantic, about our desires and our shared values, right? It's also speaking to us about sacrifices and selflessness and caring and eternal love. And so there's a lot of energy resting and residing in this one card, right? Because as I said, I'm getting the feeling that someone is going through something, has been going through something that they find just absolutely and utterly exhausting at times, and that you have been trying to figure out how you're going to go on, and at times you just feel like, just not literally dead, but figuratively speaking, you're just like, oh my gosh, like I've got no energy right now, I'm so dead. How am I supposed to get to this? How am I supposed to accomplish this? Like, you feel defeated by a lot of things that have been happening around you and happening through you that you've been taking personally, and you feel like it's happening to you. And either way, Spirit is saying that the universe has your back, right? And that, as I said, you're divinely protected. You're not alone. Even when you feel at your lowest, like you just can't go on, you're not alone. So lean onto your ancestors right now, right? Lean onto divine spirit right now for those messages and find out what it is that spirit wants you to know. And I want you to take a screenshot of this card. There you go. So that you can journal with this card, so that you can meditate with the image of this card and just see what comes up for you. Aside from, everything that I've shared with you that Spirit is telling me to, give to you right now in a message, but what is coming up for you? What do you feel? Don't rush through it. Like, sit with that. Because I'm also getting the message to tell you that your body holds untapped wisdom for you right now. And there's some very there's some messages that Spirit has been trying to get to you, and they've been encoded within you, within your vessel, so that no one could access those codes but you. And now is the time to tap into that. But you've got to be willing to put in the work. Like, you've got to be willing to put in the work. And know that while you are resting right now, right? While you're in repose, whether you're meditating, whether you're sleeping, calling on this divine energy will assist you. That's a key. Will assist you. Know that you're not alone. You're not going. You're too precious to be left unguarded and unprotected. Trust in that you're not. So anyway, that ends this series of our African and Kemetic, aka Egyptian, tarot and oracle cards. I hope that this has been insightful for some of you, that it's been helpful. And like I said, please, understand the spirit in which I share these cards with you. It's not a bragging sort of thing. It's not anything about showing off. It's just to let you know what's available. And so we will be talking about this at a later date. But I love you so much.
I don't understand.
Of course you don't. We will be talking about this at a later date. Okay, so until next time, I wish you nothing but peace, love, and blessings. Ashe.